Hey guys, I'm Brittany. I am here in my aunt's house. This is not my room, this is her room. I am here because it's not safe for me to stay in my home right now. If you don't know, if you're not following me on Twitter, which you should, hey, follow your girl. Follow me at Brits Lil L-I-L advice. Anyway, I have a few chronic diseases, autoimmune diseases, fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue syndrome, POTS, and dysautonomia. And they give me the blues. It wasn't until last year when I found out that the main cause of my diseases are toxic mold, heavy metals, and toxic chemicals. I did some testing myself because I couldn't get doctors that would try to find the root cause. So I watched a lot of health summits from the best doctors in the country, actually in the world. And they put on these summits to try to help people understand like what's going on with their body. So thankfully, because of them, I was able to figure out what my root causes were. Then I was able to find doctors that would work with me and try to heal myself. Anyway, like I said, I have toxic mold in my home, and it's been that way for several years, but I didn't know. Like, I had to piece together the story, the puzzle, to figure out, oh, okay, I've been living with this for, I want to say, 8 or 9 years. I have to go back and calculate, because I really don't know off the top of my head. But I've been living with it for a long time, and it's really starting to take a toll on me. I have very bad brain fog, so it's really hard for me to hold conversations with people. That's why it's easier for me to use social media, because I can actually like stop and think about what I want to share. And when I'm talking to people, I don't have that luxury. So it kind of seems like I don't know what the heck I'm talking about sometimes when I'm talking to people, and it's like I've never been like that. Mold literally destroys your brain, and there are studies that I can link to. I'm actually going to make a few blog posts about it, so just be on the lookout for that. But anyway, this mold has been messing with my my breathing, my sinus health. I'm most positive that I have chronic sinusitis for the last maybe 5 years, could be 6, and I ignored it. I did not realize that I've been sick with a sinus infection all this time. I was just like, okay, it's normal now for me. But so the last few days have been really rough for me as far as my breathing and my throat. On last Friday, which was the 1st, I was eating my food, taking my supplements, and one of the capsules actually went down my throat and it burst open. And it was kind of funny because I kind of coughed up powder like from a cartoon or something. But I was freaking out. Okay, it wasn't funny at the time, but now I can look back and think, oh, okay, that was a little bit funny. But I was freaking out because I'm like, what the heck is going on with my throat? And my throat started to close. That's not the first time that my throat has closed. Basically, that's from a syndrome called MCAS. It is, crap. What is MCAS? You see what I'm talking about? I be forgetting stuff, y'all. Mast cell activation syndrome. There we go. So I will have to make a separate video on that. But anyways, it can pretty much put you into anaphylactic shock. I don't usually get that bad to where I go into shock, but I can get the hives, can't breathe, so shortness of breath, throat closing, tachycardia. And the tachycardia also comes from POTS, but POTS is postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. But I was having a really rough day, well, night, And I was just like, okay, maybe it's the mold, maybe it's something I ate. I don't know like what I was reacting to, but I really did think it was the mold. So I was like, okay, let me just rest, see what happens. I was like, okay, let me rest. I don't want to overexert myself and make myself worse. So I rested the next day, and then I had issues going to sleep Sunday and Monday. So on Sunday, I only slept for 3 hours. And then, well, scratch that. I'm trying to keep my days straight. It's been a heck of a week, y'all. Sorry. Saturday night, I only slept 3 hours. And then Sunday night, I only slept 3 hours. So a total of 6 hours. And so Monday, I was going through so much sinus pain, throat pain, throat felt like it was closing again. And then what actually ended up happening was, so on Monday, I was going through a lot of pain, but what ended up happening was my eyes, girl, I felt like I was going to lose my vision because I abruptly woke up. I don't know what woke me up in such a manner, but I woke up and I removed my eye mask, and the next thing I know, I saw flashing lights. I got scared because I know when you see flashing lights, it could be your retina detaching. So I freaked out, and I immediately called my dad, and he came in the room to check on me. And I was like, okay, I have to go to the eye doctor. So we called and made an emergency appointment to go to the eye doctor. And I was extremely nauseous. I was stumbling around. I couldn't walk straight, which again, it isn't anything new. I'm kind of used to those symptoms, but I'm not used to the flashing lights. That was the first time that that's ever happened. So I was nervous. I didn't know what was going on. So we went to the eye doctor, and she checked my eyes. So she dilated and looked in the back. And so she was like, there's nothing wrong with the nerves in the back of my eyes. My retina is fine. So I started describing like exactly what happened, and she said I was going through a migraine with aura because I also had a headache. And she asked if I had ever had one. I was like, no, I get migraines all the time, but I've never had one with an aura. So I looked into that later on that day, and so I was like, okay, I'm comfortable with the idea of that's what happened. And I just started praying that it didn't happen again. And it also made me really nervous to go to sleep that night because I was afraid I was going to wake up again and have flashing in my eyes. And I didn't want to be bothered with that. So we got home from the eye doctor, and I was just like, okay, let me just try to rest, relax, and hopefully things will get better. So then that night, I'm eating dinner, and here I am getting another reaction, and I'm getting, oh, that's right, I keep forgetting to say that. The eye doctor told me also that with it being a migraine with aura, that all of the pain that I was feeling on my eyeballs, it was from my sinuses. So I was dealing with a lot of sinus pressure. And she told me I needed to make an appointment with an ENT or my primary doctor so they could figure out exactly what was going on. But she was like, it's not my eyes, it's the organs around my eyes. So I was like, okay, cool. So like I said, I get home and I'm like, okay, let me rest. Hopefully I won't have to deal with any more pain that day is what I was thinking. Because I was finally relaxed because I was extremely nervous. I didn't know what was going on. So I'm like, okay, if I relax, then maybe things will be okay. So that night I was eating and I started to have another reaction. This time I had a pounding in my face. My head was pounding. There was so much pressure in my sinuses. My cheeks were hurting. Like my teeth, all of my teeth started hurting. I've never experienced all of my teeth hurting at once. it's a very painful experience. So my dad called his sister and asked her if I could come and stay with her, and she was like, yeah, sure. So I went and I packed my bags and had a breakdown, because I'm sitting here thinking, wow, like, I'm really reacting to my house. I can't stay in my home. It's not safe. So that's still a really emotional thought to have, that it's not safe to stay in my own home. I have to leave my dog. And, you know, if you're chronically ill, or even if you're not chronically ill and you have a dog, like, you have a special bond with them. And when you're sick, they can sense that you're sick and they give you extra love. And I really needed that, and I can't have that. So I was really bummed out, and I really did start to have an emotional breakdown. I had to go outside to have it in the backyard, because if I was sitting here hyperventilating and crying inside the house where it's hard for me to breathe, there's no telling what would have happened. So back to what I was saying. I got to my aunt's house and I was thinking, okay, everything will be all right. But I started to still react. I'm like, crap, what is going on? I just want to get some rest. I want to get some sleep. And I couldn't really get any. So I did not sleep that entire Monday night. So here we are, Tuesday. And I'm trying to do things to help relieve the pressure. So I am using a steam inhaler, and I am adding essential oils to the steam inhaler. I looked up some essential oils that could help with the sinus infection. So I was using eucalyptus, rosemary, ginger root, CO2, and peppermint. And so I was using a mixture of those in the steam inhaler, and then I would use my neti pot, which is like a salt and baking soda mixture, and you mix it with distilled water. Please do not use regular water, because there's all types of bacteria in there, and you have no idea what's in there, and it could be going up your nose and reach your brain, and yeah, we don't want to go there. Anyway, use distilled water. So I was using that. I was using my nasal sprays. I should have had them over here so I could show you guys, but I'll put a picture somewhere up here. Y'all see it. Anyway, I was using those things, and also I had made myself a serum mixture of essential oils that I could rub on my face to help manually drain the mucus out of my sinuses. So I'm not going to share what's in that, because I'm actually going to release that as a product. Because if you know me, if you've been following me on Twitter, you guys know that I am creating my own natural products business, personal care products, household cleaning products. I've been teaching myself formulation for the past few years, trying to teach myself how to make some of the most popular personal care products that are natural and non-toxic. So I had to do it, because most of the stuff on the market I can't use. I will react, and I know I'm not the only person that's like that, because there's a lot of natural brands that, oh yes, I'm natural, but they actually greenwash. So yeah, I can't deal with those. Anyway, I use that product. I was using Tylenol, and I hate using Tylenol and naproxen and things like that, but I just really didn't have a choice. So I couldn't really get any relief. And this is TMI, but you should know that if you have a very severe sinus infection and you start to have diarrhea and nausea and vomiting and things like that, you need to go and get immediate help. I had looked that up, and that's what I saw. So I was like, okay, crap, let me go get some help. This is where, oh my goodness, you guys, I was pissed at this point, because I'm just like, yeah, if you look up the symptoms of severe sinus infection, like when should I go to get some emergency help, those are the things that you'll see. So please be in touch with your body. Don't wait last minute, because I should have actually got help sooner, because I was experiencing a lot of those symptoms for the past 2 days prior to me going and getting help. Well, because of this coronavirus situation, I knew that if I went to the ER, that my dad wouldn't be able to go in there with me. And because I have such bad memory problems, and when I'm sick, my brain is even more inflamed, and it makes the brain fog even worse. So I wouldn't be able to explain my situation to the doctors properly if I were by myself. So I needed my dad to be there with me. And you go to the ER now, family cannot come in. They drop you off at the door and they say you can't go, you can't stay, you have to go. So I'm like, okay, we can't do that. So I'm thinking, okay, well, what about an urgent care center? So I'm thinking, they could test me. They could use the nasal swab and test for bacteria, virus, and fungus. Because I'm most positive what I have is bacteria and fungus. And I say bacteria because usually in a moldy house, the house also grows a lot of bacteria. It's not just mold that grows. So I told my dad. He came to get me, and we went to an urgent care center not too far from us, and we had to knock on the door because we drove to the urgent care center that was nearest. We drove to the urgent care center that was closest to us, and when we pulled into the parking lot, we saw all these signs around the doors, and we're like, okay, what's going on? Actually, the door is locked, and on the signs it said you have to call this number. So we're like, all right, let's call. So we called, and they were asking a ton of questions, trying to figure out what we needed at the urgent care facility. So answered the questions. Then they started asking all these coronavirus questions, like, have you traveled outside the US in the last 30 days? Have you been around anybody that's been sick? Da 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 da. So I was like, no. I've been in the house for almost 2 months now because I'm immunocompromised. I ain't about to take that chance and leave this house and get sick, y'all. It's not in me. I'm not about to play them games. So I told them no. So they said that they were going to send a nurse outside to check my temperature before they let me in. I'm like, all right, cool. So the nurse comes outside, and she checks my temperature with one of those infrared thermometers, so it doesn't touch me. I already knew as soon as I saw that thermometer that it was about to be a problem, because this is Houston, Texas. If you guys know anything about Houston, you know it'd be hot as heck, okay? It was like, I think 95 degrees that day, and we were standing outside talking on the phone with them for like 10 minutes. So I knew in that amount of time I was overheated. I already knew it. I didn't think I was running a temperature. Like, I never did check it when I was here at my aunt's house, but I know for a fact I wasn't running a temperature. And my dad, he had like felt my head, and he was like, you're fine. So when she used the thermometer, and she told me, I think she said I had 101 degree fever. I was like, really, sis? Really? Okay. So she was like, I have to go inside and talk to my boss to see if I'm gonna let you come in. You can go sit in the car. Like, okay, all right. So what can we do? We go sit in the car and we wait. And I'm like, I'm really about to get denied care from an urgent care facility. Like, what kind of mess is this? So she comes out and gives me the news that I was expecting. Surprise, surprise. Anyway, she tells us that they can't see me there, but there's a facility in Katy, Texas, which was probably 10 miles or so away. And she said she already called them and told them everything, and that they would be expecting to see me. I was like, all right, fine. So I'm pretty sure you're thinking what I was thinking at that moment, that you're really sending me to a COVID center because y'all too scary to take me. So I'm like, all right, cool. We're in the car driving, and I'm getting worse. The sinus pressure is so unbearable. I felt like my eyeballs were going to pop out of my face. It was bad. And at this point, I am ready to start cussing out any and everybody. And I'm crying, and that's painful too. So I really can't get any relief, because, you know, crying does give you a little bit of relief, but I couldn't get any. So we are pulling into the parking lot of this next facility, and they have a tent set up outside. I wish I would have taken pictures, but I didn't feel good, so sorry guys. But it was like a triage tent set up outside, and they had the parking spots labeled with numbers. So this is ridiculous when you actually stop and think about it. So they had all these signs up saying we had to call the number. So we call the number, and they start doing, you know, like all the intake questions that they ask you when you go to the emergency room, like for your insurance and what are you here for. They started asking all those questions, and I'm like, okay, cool. Maybe after we finish this intake portion, then they'll let us come in, is what I'm thinking. Sis, no, that didn't happen. It didn't happen at all. So they asked all these questions, and they just said, okay, we're gonna send a nurse out in a few seconds. And I'm thinking, okay, they're sending a nurse out to help me walk inside so I can sit down at the table and get checked out. No. She actually came, and I opened the door, and she got nervous. Oh, before I get to that point, she had to have on full PPE. And I'm like, I've said I've been in the house for 2 months. I haven't been around anyone. I do not have this stupid virus. But okay, I understand they have to protect themselves, so I can't get mad at that. I get it. But they were taking it to the extreme. So I try to open the car door. So I'm thinking she's gonna put like the blood pressure cuff on me, and no, she's like, oh no, don't open the door. You have to keep the door closed. Just roll down the window. I'm like, all right, whatever. And so I'm going through with the pulse oximeter meter, you know, the thing that they put on your finger to check your oxygen saturation levels and your heart rate. So she did that, and so then she told me that they were going to give me a COVID test and a flu test. And I was like, why do I need a COVID test if I told you guys I haven't been around anyone? So then she was like, so you don't want it? I was like, no. And then she's like, well, what about the flu test? I was like, I know I don't have the flu either. She's like, yeah, but that's what the doctor is recommending. I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. So I did the flu test, and it came back negative, like I already knew it would. But anyway, the next thing, they were trying to force me to get a flu shot, because they were asking, when's the last time I've had a flu shot? They asked me when's the last time I had a tetanus shot, and a few other shots. I'm like, why does that even matter? I'm here for a sinus infection. Why are you asking me all these questions? Anyway, I'm like, okay, what am I supposed to do now? She's like, just wait 10 minutes for the results, and I'll come back out here with the doctor. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm about to pull off because I need to use the bathroom. I guess I'm gonna have to go to Jack in the Box or wherever just to use the bathroom. And she's like, oh, no, you can go ahead and you can come in, but that's the only thing that you can do inside is use the bathroom. I'm like, okay, well, let me go ahead. So I went in there, and there was no one in there in the facility except for the nurses and doctors. So all of the patients who needed urgent care had to receive the urgent care from their car. Yeah, I know. So I'm just sitting here like, this can't be real. This cannot be real. This is the type of service we're getting during this pandemic. So the doctor, he eventually comes out, and he does actually open the car door because he needs to check my heart and my lungs. And he does all of that, and then he's asking me all these questions of, why is my heart beating so fast? Da, 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 da. So I'm trying to explain to him I have a condition. It's called POTS. It causes tachycardia. And he looks at me funny. And so I have to explain what POTS is to a freaking doctor. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. So at this point, I'm annoyed. And then he starts asking me all these ridiculous questions. And they were all coronavirus questions. And he wanted to know, what was the thing that he said that really pissed me off? I wrote it down over here, guys. He asked me if I was an essential worker or a non-essential worker. And I explained to him that I don't work. I am chronically ill. I have multiple diseases that I can't hold down a job, unfortunately. It is what it is. But hey, I'm trying my hardest to make money from my blog. I do produce a little bit of income from my blog. Hopefully that's gonna go up soon. Well, not hopefully, it is. I'm working really hard at that. I'm writing a book right now. It'll be an ebook, and I will share more about that in another video, so be on the lookout for that. Anyway, like I said, he didn't care for my answer of not having a job. Like I said, I guess he wanted me to have been near coronavirus, because I guess that's all anybody cares about right now. They don't care about the people who are chronically ill or just have an acute illness. Like, you're not about to get no good care. I'm sorry. That's the truth. That's the honest to God truth. Anyway, I tell him, I give him his answer, and so then I start asking him about the testing, because this man, all he did was look down my throat, and then he started rambling off some things to me, and I'm like, okay, he ain't checked my ears, he didn't check up my nose, and hello, I'm here because I have a sinus infection. And then I start asking him about a fungal testing swab for my sinuses, because I'm most positive that I have a fungal sinus infection because I live in a moldy house. And he looks at me with disgust, and he's like, that's not possible. I'm like, what do you mean that's not possible? He said there's no test for a fungal sinus infection. It doesn't exist. I'm like, how did this man graduate? Because you could just Google fungal sinus infections and you will see that they do have testing for fungal sinus infections, and it is very common to have one because most people have mold in their house and they don't know it, and it's making them super sick, because you can have mold allergy and you can have a toxicity to mold because of the things that mold does to your central nervous system, to your brain, to your organs. It does so many different things. It literally affects everything in your body. Anyway, again, guys, I will have more videos in the future about mold and what it does to you. So we're going back and forth, and he's telling me that the only way that you can test for fungus in your body is that if it reaches down into your lungs, they can test your lungs for the fungus. And I'm just like, okay, That's what I tell him. I'm like, okay. Because I'm like, there's no point in me arguing with you. Because you, you think you know everything. And by the way, guys, he wasn't a doctor. He was a physician's assistant. And, you know, no shade to anybody out there that's a physician's assistant. Because I actually did have a really great one at my doctor's office. And then she moved. I actually enjoy her more than my doctor. But it's probably rare to actually find a good PA. Just being honest, because it's rare to find a good doctor too. Anyway, again, no shade. It's just the truth. So I'm asking him, you know, okay, if you're not going to test for fungus, what about bacterial, viral, sinus infection? He doesn't do that either. So I'm like, at this point, you're going to give me prescriptions for something that you're not going to test for. Like, where do they do that at? Like, really? But anyway, he tells me he's going to give me a Z-Pack, which is an antibiotic. He tells me he's going to give me a Leclerc D and Flonase. I already have Flonase, so I told him I didn't need the prescription for the Flonase. So he just gives me the prescription for the other two. And at this point, my dad's sitting in the car and he's ticked off too. And he's asking the doctor questions. I don't remember exactly what he had asked him, but at this point, I am streaming tears down my cheeks because I am so frustrated at this lack of non-care that this healthcare provider is providing. So I'm like, okay, what am I supposed to do now? I felt like I wasted my time. I wasted my money. Here I am thinking that I'm going to get at least a look up my nose. I'm thinking I'm going to get scoped or something. And none of that happened. So he tells me I can come back in 10 days and not have to pay if I feel worse. I'm like, okay, but I'm feeling really bad right now and I'm not getting any care. So like I said, I'm just crying. The nurse comes and she's like, oh my god, are you okay? And I'm like, I'm in pain, ma'am. I'm in serious pain. I was hoping I was going to get some sort of relief. That was one of the biggest reasons for me coming. I needed some sort of relief that I couldn't get from my house or my aunt's house. And so she's like, okay, well, he could probably provide you with a steroid shot or a pain reliever shot. I'm thinking, okay, I really don't want a steroid shot because steroids in my body, they just don't go together. I don't want to do that. So I'm like, okay, I would prefer to get a pain reliever shot. She's like, okay, I'm gonna go get him and ask him. So he comes out and he asked me, do I really need the shot? Yeah, I need the shot. Why would I be here asking for one if I didn't need one? So that kind of irritated me, and I wondered why he would say something like that. And so then I started listening, and I realized why. Because he said that they didn't want to let anyone into the building because they feared the spread of the virus. And I'm thinking, don't y'all have cleaning supplies? Isn't this a medical facility? I'm not understanding. Y'all deal with germs every single day. Every day. Why is this coronavirus so different? I completely understand that the virus is a lot deadlier than other viruses, but we can't sit here and treat people that need immediate help. Like, I felt like I'm being treated like a criminal. Like I've done something wrong. Like, how dare I ask for the care and service that I'm paying for? Like, what am I paying you for? you didn't help me at all. So he tells me that I could take ibuprofen, and he said something else. I forgot what he said. And I'm telling him, well, I've been taking Tylenol for a couple days now, and I'm not getting any relief. And so then he explains that the ibuprofen is anti-inflammatory, and I have inflammation in my sinuses. I'm like, okay, fine. So he's like, is there anything else? And I'm like, no. You're not about to help me anyway. So we just go ahead and we leave and go to Walmart to get some ibuprofen. And I get back to my aunt's house, and I am in so much pain that I went ahead and I took the antibiotic, and I didn't have much food. And like I said, I hadn't slept in so many hours. I would have to calculate how many hours that was, but I was just running on fumes. So at this point, I end up having to hug the toilet, and I pretty much passed out at the toilet, and my dad had to come and get me and put me in the bed. So I've just been trying to recover since. Like I said, that was Tuesday, and here it is Thursday night. It is 3:49 in the morning. So really it's Friday morning, but yeah, whatever. I just wanted to come and record this video for you guys, explaining what I've been going through, because my followers, I know, have been wondering what the heck is wrong with this girl. But I'm doing a lot better. I can breathe now, because like my nasal passages were blocked. At some point I couldn't even get the neti pot, the water, to go through the other nostril. So I was really bad off, because I wasn't sure if I was gonna make it, because I was in so much pain. I didn't see how I was gonna get to the next day. It was really bad. And I'm just gonna continue resting. I'm going to take some time to edit this video. I'm gonna finish writing this book. Hopefully, I'm kind of nervous to put a time frame on it. Hopefully a week. I'll finish it in a week. And y'all can find me on Twitter. I have a lot of gardening that I need to get done. If you've been following me on Instagram, y'all saw I went live last month. So a lot of my vegetables are growing. I'm really excited about that. I'm gonna have to go live again in a couple days and show you guys. That's gonna be a challenge, trying to go home, and I think my best option is trying to limit my time at home to like an hour, and hopefully it doesn't cause that much of a reaction, because I can't stay in my house. I don't know when I'll be able to stay in my house, and it's a sad thought. Home is home. Can't believe that I can't stay there, but hopefully soon my dad will get a job, be able to get a job. He's been looking and looking. I'm just gonna put it out there. If anyone has any sort of connections in the oil and field industry for SAP, he was SAP security for it was the third or the fourth largest oil company in the world. And he did that for a very long time. He was the head point for security of North America. So he's not your average dude. And he would be a good candidate for anyone if he could just get a job so we can move out of that house. I just want to be able to regain my life back. I want to be able to live, and I can't do it in that house. It's just been slowly killing me, and I just, like I said, I want to be free. But I will keep you guys up to date on the things that I'm doing to try to recover from this mold experience. Like I said, sharing my gardening videos, food videos. I'll have some food videos coming out, and just more sit downs like this. Let me know in the comments what you think about this video, whether it be about the mold portion or really about the lack of care that you will receive during this COVID pandemic. I can't believe that this is a reality, but hey, what are we supposed to do? Stay encouraged. I don't want to post this and have people freaking out, because it may not be like this where you are, but it's like this where I am, and I just wanted to share my experience. If you've had a similar experience, please let me know in the comments section. Share this video with your friends and your family, subscribe, and I will catch you guys soon. Bye.